So everybody, with new M4 MacBook Pros right around the corner, I thought this was a perfect opportunity to share some of my favorite accessories that I personally use with my MacBook. Now I use an M2 MacBook Air because I don't need the additional horsepower of something like an M3 Max or an M3 Pro, and even when the M4 ones come out, I don't think I'm going to actually update from the M2 Air, but all the accessories that I mentioned will be able to be used not only with this M2 Air, but with pretty much any other MacBook moving forward, whether it is the Air in the 13 and 15 inch size or the Pros in the 14 and 16 inch size. So without further ado, let's talk about my favorite accessories. Let's get into it. Now before we get started, I will link down everything below for you guys to check out, and there's some crazy deals on Amazon right now for the M2 and M3 MacBook Airs, which again are absolutely unheard of, so I'll leave those down below for you guys to check out. But the first thing I'm going to mention is what's actually physically on my MacBook Air, and it's the only product that I have on here, and I've had it on here for about a year, and this is going to be the MacBook Air case. I was never somebody to actually put something physically on my MacBook Air up until about a year ago because I've been falling in love with this leather aesthetic, but about 6 months ago this actually saved my MacBook Air from completely being cracked and shattered on the concrete floor of Manhattan. So I basically dropped my MacBook Air from about 5 feet of height right onto the concrete floor, and even though I did get a small dent on my MacBook Air, it saved it from shattering my screen and from it being much worse and also getting a bunch of scratches on my actual MacBook Air. So if you guys do need some sort of protection on here, whether it is just for scuffs and scratches or even some drop protection, this Helm by Andar is a great solution, and it's made out of genuine leather, it smells amazing, it patina's awesome, and they have some amazing colorways. So definitely check this one out. And as I mentioned, this is available for pretty much every single MacBook. Now the next one I do want to mention is by a company called Plugable, and Plugable makes some awesome accessories from the USB-C hubs to USB-C dongles and chargers and cables, but they recently released a portable monitor, which I think is a great solution for anybody that wants to kind of not break the bank with a portable monitor, but also have something reliable that isn't from some no-name brand on Amazon, because we see hundreds of these come and go every single week and month, and from a quality standpoint, those are absolutely terrible. But this one by Plugable, again, it's less than $200, it is a 1080p display, 15.6 inches diagonally, has 16.7 million colors, and it's purpose-built for MacBooks to begin with. It comes with a nice USB-C cable built into it, and it can just use the power from your MacBook Air or any MacBook to power this display very easily. And what's nice about it is that it also has a secondary USB-C port which can make it turn into a hub, so you can technically plug in up to a 100-watt power brick through the actual display itself that'll power your MacBook, but you can also plug in another dongle or an SSD and your MacBook will be able to read it because of the ability to have data and power pass through on this display. And as I mentioned, for less than $200, and I believe there's a 5% coupon on Amazon right now for you guys to check out. So if you need a portable monitor, this one is a great solution, and it's extremely lightweight because they did go with plastic build materials, but because they wanted to keep it as portable and as lightweight as possible. And then in that same light, when it does come to dongles, the one that I recommend the most, especially for somebody that wants the most robust type of USB-C hub, especially on the go, is going to be the 10-in-1 Explorer by Dockcase. Now there are some cheaper ones out there, but I like this one because of the quality build materials, as well as kind of that translucent and transparent top, which gives it a nice aesthetic. And then finally, it has a 1-inch display that gives you all the diagnostics happening on this actual USB-C dongle. So as I mentioned, it is a 10-in-1, and it does support power delivery up to 100 watts and power pass-through, so that's the first USB-C port. It supports up to 8K 30 on an HDMI port, which it has. It also has a 4K 120Hz display port. You also get a regular USB-A port on here. You get an Ethernet port, which supports up to 10 gigabytes per second. You have a microSD and SD card slot. You have a secondary USB-A port. Then you have a third USB-A port, but this one is a USB 3.2 Gen 2 port, so it supports up to 10 gigs of speed. And then finally, you do have a USB-C version of that, and it comes with a beautiful braided cable. And if you're looking for pretty much the best of the best when it comes to a USB-C dongle that gives you everything, and you kind of like to nerd out when it comes to live diagnostics and real-time transfer speeds, seeing what's connected, this is a perfect solution for anybody looking to get a USB-C dongle to match up with their MacBook. And then of course, I'm a big proponent of buying external storage, especially with a MacBook, because I don't think that built-in storage is really worth it, especially because Apple makes so much money every single time you go up in storage space. And you can see that if you want to get an additional terabyte, you're spending an additional like $600 or $800 on a laptop that's supposed to be $700 to $800 to begin with. But my current favorite SSD and my most reliable one is going to be by Lexar. I use their 4TB SSD model. They have a 1TB, a 2TB, and a 4TB version. So if you guys do need some external storage to be able to offload stuff on here, here or just work off of this SSD, I highly recommend buying external storage because for less than $300, you can get 4 terabytes. And if you try to get 2 or 4 terabytes on a MacBook Air or MacBook Pro, the price gets a little bit astronomical and a little bit nutty. Now when it comes to power, I like to have a few things on me. First and foremost, you need to have an actual power brick for here. And for the MacBook Air specifically, you only really need up to 30 watts. It supports a little bit more than that, but 30 watts is fast enough to give you a decent charge even while in use. Of course, if you have a MacBook Pro, you're gonna need something a little bit more, but the brick that I personally like to have with me is Nomad 65 watt charging brick because it is strong enough to charge not only my MacBook Air, but my iPad Pro as well, my iPhone and even MacBook Pros. It won't charge obviously at that 100 watts or even 140 watts, but 65 watts is more than enough. And you have 2 USB-C ports, so it does smartly divvy up all that wattage depending on the devices. And it also has an Apple Watch charging puck on top of it, so if you do need to have something on the go to charge your Apple Watch, this is a great solution that can charge pretty much everything that you need with no issues whatsoever. And if you do need a portable charger, I like to keep mine relatively small, so I have this 10,000 milliamp hour power bank by Anker, which does support up to 30 watts out, so it's mostly made for something like your iPhone or your iPad. But again, for a MacBook Air, the 30 watts is fast enough to be able to charge your MacBook and not actually lose power while using it. So this one is 10,000 milliamp hours, and it's good enough to charge your MacBook pretty much one time over, and it also has a built-in Apple Watch stand if that's something that you want to do on the go. And then lastly, when it comes to power and also a little bit of data pass-through, I like to use Raycon's Magic Flex cable because it allows me to have 6 different ports and 6 different plugs, and not need to fish around for things that maybe have a lightning port or even a micro USB port. Now I am pretty much at the point where now everything is USB-C, but I do have micro USB for my mouse, and I still have a couple of things like the Magic Trackpad that is lightning, so having this and being able to use this Magic cable to charge any and all my devices, and it supports up to 100 watts of power pass-through, and it does support up to 400 Mbps in terms of data, so in a pickle it does help from a data transfer standpoint. This one by Raycon for the price is unbeatable, and it comes with a tangle-free cable. The cable is super quality. I am very, very happy with this one, and for something so simple, I'm very glad that they were able to kind of get this done and get this done in a quality way. And then the last one that I wanted to throw in here because I think it's a great stocking stuffer or great for anybody because it is relatively cheap, and this is going to be the stand by Momax. And this one is a stand that does hold it upright, so it does hold it in the folding position, and it's more so for desk setups if anything at all, but this one just uses the own weight of the laptop itself to kind of close the laptop in place, and then when you lift it, there's no like lever or notch or clip or anything that you need to press for it to come out because it's, again, if you remove the weight of the actual laptop, it's going to open itself up, and for less than $20, I think this is an amazing thing to have. And it also has a little lip on there to be able to stand up, let's say, a phone or a tablet or anything in between that does fit on there. So this one for less than 20 bucks fits on any desk. It's actually the main desk stand that I use for my laptop, and I will be having another video here soon for a desk setup with a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air, so definitely stay subscribed. But that I personally think is a great solution for anybody that's just looking for a simple stand that works, and I've had this one for over 3 years now at this point, and it's still holding up perfectly. It is made out of plastic, but it's very, very lightweight. It has some rubber feet on the bottom to keep it in place, and like I said, for the price, it's unbeatable. But that will just about do it for this video, everybody. As you saw, there's an array of different accessories on here, and they work for pretty much any single MacBook that you are available to get your hands on, and they have their different versions of it for the different MacBooks depending on the size, the weight, the power delivery options, and things like that. So I'll leave everything linked down below for you guys to check out. Leave a comment down below what your favorite accessory was from this video, and then also maybe leave me a comment down below talking about maybe an accessory that you use on a daily basis with your MacBook, and I'll definitely check it out in a future video to see exactly what it's all about. But that'll do it, everybody. If you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know you made it to the end. And if you want to watch more videos like this one, definitely check out one of these videos right here. YouTube thinks you're gonna like this one, and I personally think you're gonna like this one. But that'll do it. I'm Fernando. Peace, everybody.